Hey guys, what's up? Ready for some drama? Man, things just took a turn nobody expected. What was supposed to be a regular court day for Diddy allegedly ended in chaos when claims surfaced that his attorney exposed something shocking.
Oh!
An alleged HIV report with Diddy's name on it.
I mean, he actually caught HIV, like having like a lot of women.
Oh yeah, let's just go down the rabbit hole of all of his sins.
And when those claims hit, Diddy wasn't acting like the confident mogul we've all seen before. Reports say he was breaking down, saying, "They dragged me, they set me up." People close to the case even said he looked like he was on the verge of tears. Jaguar Wright speculates this is just because he realizes the truth is coming out about him.
He doesn't, he everything he does with everyone else, it's for money, but he's just with you. He's with you, right? And there's no money exchange, so that makes it special. Not at all. Not at all.
Hold on, Jack. Doesn't it make sense though?
No, it really doesn't make sense, especially when you see your so-called straight boyfriend now doing gay parties and saying that's only for money.
Wow.
And letting men go down on him for extra, but it's only for money.
Allegedly,
Okay?
his attorney told the world basically, like, yes, Diddy is a swinger. He can't just go out into a swinging party. He may have to hire people to come into his world to do those swingish things.
A swingers party with as many different people as he had at those parties. And understand this, these sessions that he's talking about swinging, there were multiple men. It wasn't just one-on-one action. And I don't know why they're all lying about it. Like they're all lying through their caps. And anybody who doesn't want to see that, well, then that's just on them.
Now, let's start at the start. Diddy's been fighting off allegations for months. Lawsuits, rumors, wild party stories. Every time he brushed it off. But this, if true, it's different. Because when health reports get leaked, especially something as serious as HIV, it's not just gossip anymore. That's real life. The streets started buzzing immediately. But then things got even messier. Right as this court drama unfolded, an old birthday party video with Meek Mill allegedly leaked. And it wasn't the celebration people thought it was. Some say it looked more like an initiation into Diddy's twisted world.
Hey, what's up, King Son? Man, you doing it, man. You deserve it, Daddy. You putting in that work. Proud of you. I love you. Yeah.
Now, the backstory to this is that Diddy threw Meek a so-called birthday bash in Las Vegas at the Parisian Palace. $25,000 a night. Same weekend as Mayweather's big fight. The guest list? Pure A-list. But the leaked details from that night are insane. Matching outfits, lingerie dancers walking around like chess pieces, even a naked woman laid out as a sushi platter. And when it was over, insiders say the mansion was trashed. Broken bottles, used condoms, blood-stained bedding, and substance scattered around. And then came viral audio allegedly recorded that night. Disclaimer, we can't play that audio because it's against YouTube policy, but don't worry. You can track it down online in seconds. So, anyway, some say it caught Diddy and Meek in a compromising situation. The internet went wild. Meek immediately called the audio fake, said it was AI generated to destroy him. He even posted, "My voice is so powerful as a black man from the ghetto. They want it gone. I'm under control of no human." Strong words, but people weren't convinced. Speculation flew. Some claimed one of Diddy's own bodyguards secretly recorded the audio. Others pointed the finger at Meek's ex, Nicki Minaj. Jaguar Wright even alleged Nicki paid someone to leak the tape. And later, Nicki herself joked on a podcast that Meek loves controversy and doesn't mind being dragged into drama. Coincidence? Maybe, but folks weren't buying it. Gene Deal even claimed that there were blood-stained sheets on the beds at the party.
No, what happened was that Diddy had rented a mansion out for Meek Mill's birthday party, and he had rented it for like $25,000. I remember we rented one of Cher's mansion out You know what I'm saying? And that's the day he had fired his cook, but that's a whole nother story. You know what I'm saying? It was me, Wolf, Mace, Ock. Was Ock staying there? No, it was just me, Wolf, Mace, Puff, and there was one other person staying in the mansion. But anyway, long story short is that they came recently. This happened a long time ago, but they recently just made a statement that they found loads of cocaine. I wonder what they did with the cocaine, because they didn't turn it over to the police. They said they found loads of cocaine, razor blades. They said that the sheets were bloody, nasty. They found a whole lot of used condoms. And it was a Diddy party, giving in Meek Mill's honor for his birthday. I was like, yo, wow. They said it was disgusting the way that they left the place. So I know they got hit with another bill on top of that $25,000 and the different deposits they had to put down for cleanup and all this other stuff. It was crazy. It was one of the property managers, they had rented out a mansion. I heard about that whole story.
And here's where it connects back. Because industry insiders like Jaguar Wright and Gene Deal have been saying for years that Diddy recorded these wild parties himself. Allegedly, he kept cameras rolling and used the footage as blackmail against anyone who stepped out of line. One claim even says there were over 250 hidden recorders inside his mansion.
But a lot of people probably believe that, you know, they just want to know, and the government want to know what things those people were doing on those tapes and who was doing shit on those tapes. Because I heard they found like 250 cameras or something like that.
That's what they say. They said they found a lot of cameras.
Right.
There's a lot of rumors about him recording some of these parties, and he's using a lot of this stuff for blackmail, like a lot of celebrities, even as far as politicians. You know, I think even Little Rod said that Diddy had every room taped and bugged.
Right. Well, in his affidavit or his deposition that he gave to the courts, he said every room was bugged, and that he did have tapes and information on a lot of different celebrities and people in the music business, people that were in politicians, and like I said, in other platforms, people that was in the ministry, allegedly.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, if the feds got their hands on these tapes, you could very well see like a domino effect of shit coming down on everybody.
It depends on what's on the tapes. You know what I'm saying?
Now, after the trial verdict, Gene claims the feds have had to cover everything up.
So I want to go back to the comments you made earlier about these tapes, and I want you to give more clarity. So you believe they only got Puffy because they wanted these tapes. What do you think is on these tapes?
Bro, you gotta realize you got people like Prince Harry. Prince Harry was at a Diddy party. You got some of the same Universal executives. Diddy made it cool for, I'm just gonna say it like this, man, whites to hang out with the hood dudes. Dude from the hood, he made it cool and safe for them to hang out with the white executives. They used them for that. They used them enough, whereas that now you got white executives doing Diddy-like parties. Remember the dude from, Frantic? The clothing line, the sports line? They was mad because they didn't get invites to his party because he was doing white parties, doing parties like Diddy. Now, I ain't talking about the off party part of it, but I'm just saying, he was doing those parties and everybody, there was rappers, or I think Stephen A. Smith said something about he was upset that he didn't get no invite. So it was those parties that everybody wanted to be at. Y'all heard the same thing that I heard. When they raided his house, y'all saw the same thing I saw. They took computers, tapes. You think wasn't nothing on those tapes, y'all? You think they didn't log those tapes? Why did they, hold up. Yo, I just caught a jewel. They used the tape that Cassie sent them. That Cassie had. They used the tape that Cassie had that they showed to the jurors. Why do you think they didn't use the tape that they got from Diddy house? Because that would have them had to log that in. It would have been public record. And at one given time, when it's a public record and out of this trial, you could go see it. You could go get those tapes, copies of those tapes, because it's public record. It would have been public record, bro. It's a dirty game out here, man. It's a real dirty game. They are protecting somebody. Why did Damian Wim, the first prosecutor, he trying to put it off on Trump? Oh, Mr. Trump is coming in office, so I'm gonna leave before he get here. Right after he did the Diddy, right after he did the Diddy raid, right after they got the tapes and everything, he retired. Great job. Probably got $1 million house and all that shit somewhere. Because he definitely quit. And tried to put that shit off on Trump. Y'all saw what I saw. Y'all saw what we saw, the same shit. Y'all heard the same thing that I heard. They took over 256, cameras and who had that many cameras in their house? I don't give how big the mansion is.
So now we've got two major storms colliding. On one hand, this alleged HIV report dragging Diddy's name through court. On the other, leaked tapes and viral audio tying Meek Mill and others into his so-called empire of chaos. And the industry's asking the same thing we are. Was Diddy really dragged to catch Humphrey like he says? Or is this just years of buried secrets finally crawling to the surface? Now, according to Jaguar Wright, Diddy was diagnosed with HIV, knew about it, but never shared that information. Diddy had the opportunity like everybody else. You know what's wild about that though? He faced that head up. He didn't stop. He didn't stop doing what he's done. How many dudes are running around undetectable? Wright also claimed that she personally knows at least 20 men who are living with HIV and hinted she may reveal their names in her own upcoming show. She didn't stop there. Wright also challenged the narrative around Diddy and Jay-Z's relationship. While Jay-Z's team has said that the two weren't close outside of business, Wright insisted that wasn't true. In her words, their friendship went beyond work.
I minded my business.
Did you ever see Diddy around Jay-Z?
I mean, of course. At parties, at events. Everyone knows this. This ain't nothing new. Everyone knows this. The simple fact that that nigga went and did exactly everything I said he was going to do. I said on Piers Morgan, I've been making that jump ever since, but don't nobody want to give me credit for that. All of these people he been robbing all of these years. And I know I'm responsible for him losing at least $125 million in the past 2 months. I say that with pride.
Yes, sir,
Don't
Jack.
nobody want to give me credit for what I do.
Jaguar was right.
Yeah, they might say you're bringing down our black billionaires, Jack. You're bringing our black billionaires down.
How can I do that? I'm a liar, right? How could I do that? I'm crazy, right? How could I do that if I'm not right?
Come on.
See, I don't need to be right. I just need to admit that y'all was wrong. If I could get $1 for every person that's called me a liar in the past 5 years, then I would be financing. I buy my satellite next week.
You do seem like a keeper of information.
Nobody's thinking about the fact that a compromised national network like the National Broadcasting Company allowed a bullying job happen to a 37-year-old traumatized autistic woman with no comfort there, with no one there to shield her, to give her peace. Anyone who knows autistic people, they crumble in social settings and they'll do anything and say anything just to get you to stop pressuring. NBC should be sanctioned for that.
Right.
They
What do you
should
thought?
and they should pay her.
Yeah, what are your thoughts with NBC putting her out? Like, just even interviewing her behind.
I think they're just as grubby for what they done to R. Kelly and then give Jay-Z a fluffball interview. Where's Gail?
Where's Gail?
Why Gail ain't got no interview for the Carters? They're such good friends.
Hey.
Where's Gail? What, she's trying to keep the brain away from Oprah before she passed out on a Ozempic again? I don't know. Where is this?
The singer went further, calling out Diddy's overall impact on the music industry. She labeled him a harmful influence for 30 years and argued that people like Clive Davis and Lucian Grange helped protect him, which allowed his power to grow. This oppressive system has harmed our culture and society for far too long. It's time to stop enabling people like Diddy, Wright said, urging the industry to change.
Jaguar Wright told us that Diddy learned everything from Clive Davis. Jaguar Wright has explained how much of a monster Clive Davis is, and she constantly says that Diddy learned everything from him. Jaguar Wright claimed that Clive Davis had something to do with Whitney Houston's unaliving because she was getting ready to leave Clive Davis's record label because she realized she was missing a whole bunch of money. And a lot of people thought it was terrible when Clive Davis continued to party even though Whitney Houston had just died in the same hotel. And then to add that with even more mystery, it was super weird when Whitney Houston gave this note to Brandy the night before she passed away. And honestly, I want to know what that note says more than anything honestly in the world. And then after Whitney Houston passed away, Bobby Brown's sister started saying that Whitney's death was no accident and saying that Bobby Christina was not safe.
Whitney Houston's body told anybody upon looking at it that it was foul play. Okay, don't get it twisted. No, Whitney Houston, I counted at least 10 gashes in her chest alone. She had marks up and down her legs. Her fingernails were chipped. Her face was busted out. It was blown up. Yes, as if somebody was punching her in the face. Whitney Houston fought for her life.
Jaguar Wright claimed that this happened to Whitney Houston because she was trying to leave Clive Davis. And then she said the same thing happened to Bobby Christina because Bobby Christina inherited Whitney Houston's estate. And Jaguar Wright claimed that Bobby Christina's boyfriend had a meeting with Clive Davis, and this is how Clive Davis basically set it up to make the same thing happen to Bobby Christina.
In addition to this, it is also alleged that Diddy was also heavily impacted by his own parents, one of whom was seemingly a federal informant.
Did y'all see when they interviewed Dapper Dan about Diddy?
I haven't seen that one. Please.
They ran into Dapper Dan in Harlem and they asked him what he thought about what was going on with Diddy and if he knew Diddy. And I love Dapper Dan for this. He said I grew up with his parents. He said, and what's going on with him has been going on long before him. Now, his father was a government snitch and a bad actor in the criminal world altogether. But there's whispers in the streets of Harlem that Diddy's mother isn't alive. Not his biological mother, but that woman is his aunt.
Whoa.
There are whispers.
Wait a minute.
There are whispers.
Back in February, Diddy raised eyebrows after a late-night trip to the hospital sparked speculation that it could be linked to HIV. Sources claimed he was moved from federal prison to receive medical attention for what was described as a lingering issue. Reports said the 55-year-old was rushed from the Metropolitan Detention Center in New York to a Brooklyn hospital, away from the spotlight, to quietly address the problem. Officially, the issue was tied to his knee, an injury that goes back to his 2003 New York City marathon run. According to the New York Post, Diddy received non-invasive testing and an MRI. The Bureau of Prisons declined to give details, releasing only a statement. For privacy, safety, and security reasons, we do not comment on the conditions of confinement for anyone in our custody to include medical status or medical trips. Insiders suggested the nighttime hospital visit was meant to minimize media attention and keep other inmates from finding out. But despite those efforts, word got out. Diddy was in pain and undergoing treatment. But was that really the truth? People think it was just a move to gain sympathy, much like how he was acting all soft and vulnerable in the courtroom.
How you feel about Diddy's appearance in court? They saying that he got all gray hair, his facial hair is all gray. He got a gray sweater on. Like, how you feel about his appearance?
Well, first of all, he can't use that stuff in court. He can't get that behind bars. So his appearance, you think Diddy wants somebody to see him looking like an old man? He can't do nothing about that because they're not gonna let him dye his hair in jail. So he's going out as natural. He could cut his hair low. You understand what I'm saying? But he can't use any dye. They're not gonna give him no dye to take or dye his hair. That's not a choice. That's something that he has to do. And him throwing signs of the heart and everything like that back to his family and stuff, I don't believe the jurors, like that or even care about that.
Yeah, they reported that he got a Bible with him, like he's reading the Bible during trial.
All that is a front, bro. What happens is that the defense is trying to have him distract himself. So they know it's a possibility that he might break on somebody, break down, or do something. So what they're trying to do, well, read over this, look over this. You understand? So they don't show the real you.
Meanwhile, reports have surfaced that Diddy is allegedly planning a comeback in music, but not everyone believes it's possible. He was found guilty on 2 out of 5 charges brought against him, remains behind bars without bail, and could face 3 to 4 years in prison. Despite that, his lawyers have said more than once that Diddy wants to return to music. According to Radar Online, one source was blunt. Diddy is totally deluded if he thinks that's going to happen. The insider said, he genuinely thinks he's coming back stronger, but no one with a decent reputation wants anything to do with him now. He is totally deluded if he thinks he's going to stroll out of jail and back into the recording studios and boardrooms he once dominated. Not one big-name producer in the industry will want to work with him, and no entrepreneur will want to get tied up with him. Another executive echoed the same sentiment, claiming his alleged plan for a future in music is delusional. They told Radar Online, he keeps talking about launching a comeback, but there's no comeback to make. Still, Diddy's legal team insists he's not giving up. In an interview with CBS News, his attorney Mark Agnifilo revealed that the music mogul is determined to do something exceptional when he gets out. Jaguar Wright thinks all of this is part of a wider strategy of damage control by Diddy. By controlling what the public thinks about him, he can control how much damage he's gonna have to take.
Diddy does have a plan to try to derail the information, derail the chain of evidence, derail history as it actually happened. And he is the kind of guy that has no problem with re-victimizing people all over again. Let's just keep it a buck. These girls showed up at a very opportune time, did they not? Adria and Lamisha Fuller. Very opportune time. I do Pierce Morgan. The elites go insane. Ariel Mitchell Kidd drops Adria English as a client after she got drunk and talked with Tasha K, which was side in itself, if you ask me. I go on Pierce Morgan and say I have 3 witnesses that are ready to come forward against the Carters. I didn't say against Diddy, I said against the Carters. And then there was the fake C&D, which was nothing more than a phone call from the lawyer Alex Spiro, who tanked the Rock Nation offering so Dame Dash couldn't make any real money off of it. They're all afraid. When I look at Khadisha's content and I see her go and pull everything. When I see you go and pull all of those things that I leave on the breadcrumb trail, I need people to understand how valuable that is. Because see, I'm used to people just calling me a liar straight out the gate. But I always leave enough of the real information there for people to be able to go and seek it out for themselves. Because see, if you can go find it, then it's not about me. The truth is, a lot of you content creators are my receipt partners.
In addition to this, she also claims that Diddy tried to get rid of evidence that would have incriminated him.
The day that Diddy's house was raided, pay attention to the 24 hours that happened before it hit the news. Kim Kardashian unfollowed him, which we now know she was very involved in the Diddy lifestyle. Diddy was supposed to be going on vacation with his daughters, but he didn't do that. He was supposed to be in Los Angeles, but when they found him, he was wandering around at an executive airport in Florida, not on Star Island where that house was being raided. Yet they thought he was on a plane that left Los Angeles and ended up around Antigua, over there by the Bermuda Triangle where there's unprotected waters. And things were dumped out of that plane, allegedly. We need to look at that.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because 1,000 bottles of baby oil, which we now know was only a carrier vehicle for, the pharmaceuticals inside. Every kind of illegal essay on from VHS all the way up to terabytes of streams of all of it. This was all left behind for the authorities to be able to find. So what went out on the plane? What went out on the plane? If someone's going to go through the trouble of loading up a plane, not with person, but with God knows what, and sending the government on a wild goose chase to where things were allegedly dumped in unprotected waters where they can't be recovered or investigated. Don't forget, you're getting this out of there before HIS shows up. So you got to remember, this is all in a crunch. Kim Kardashian unfollows him. Diddy is supposed to be in LA, but he's actually already in Florida. But his plane leaves from LA and goes from Florida out to unprotected waters where things were allegedly dumped. And that went out first. And you left all of this stuff behind. Oh, that had to be terrible things. Maybe it was the kind of things that would guarantee life without parole immediately. It had to be worse than what they found. And now Diddy's, making crazy collect calls, get rid of all the pizza boxes and recycle all the plastic.
So now the question remains. With a damaged reputation, legal battles still looming, and only a handful of allies left, does Diddy really have a shot at making a comeback? Let us know in the comments.